Morning! This might be a surprise, but sometimes the United Nations doesn't always represent poorer countries as much as others. I know, shocker. Recently, I got into the rabbit hole of UNESCO, the sometimes controversial United Nations organization. Specifically, I was looking into the World Heritage Sites. These are places deemed worthy enough to be internationally recognized as World Heritage, and UNESCO aims to protect these for the goal of world peace or whatever.
I wish for world peace.
That was very selfish of you.
World Heritage Sites can be physical landmarks like nature preserves or famous structures, and they can even be historic areas such as downtowns, marketplaces, and the sites of historic events. The general idea is that these places have an important role in the history and identity of the country or region they represent. Naturally, the first thing I noticed is that not every country has a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Italy gets to have 60 different sites, whereas places like Guinea Bissau have 0. I was initially really shocked about this until I realized not everyone gets as hyped about Guinea Bissau as I do. So then it hit me. I should go through all 28 countries without a UNESCO World Heritage Site and choose a famous location in each one that would be a great fit for a World Heritage designation. Let me know if you're from any of these countries and if you agree or disagree with any of my choices. Tell me in the comments, or my new Discord server, link in the description, and subscribe to the channel if you want more geography content like this. Alright, that's long enough. We start with the Bahamas. Now, choosing World Heritage Sites isn't easy because I usually look at World Heritage Sites of nearby countries to get an idea of regional themes. And yet, I want to choose places that will also stand out on their own. For the Bahamas, I decided to go with Blackbeard's Tower. Nassau is quite a historic city, so I felt it was best to pick something there. Pirates have an important role in the history and identity of the Bahamas, and a tower made for one of the most infamous pirates in history seems about right. I'm not too familiar with Pirates of the Caribbean. The only movie I'm familiar with is when he met Willy Wonka and his crew exploded. I don't know, Disney is weird. Next is Bhutan. Bhutan is a country that probably does not want any more attention on their historic landmarks, so I'll keep it brief. The best choice would be one of the Buddhist monasteries, probably Paro Taksang, a temple with a beautiful cliffside view. Many might say the best choice for Brunei is the Ulu Temburong National Park. And yeah, it looks incredible, but I have to go with Kampong Ayer, the largest and oldest water village in the world, where the houses and multiple buildings are suspended over a river and connected by wooden bridges. It's near the capital of the country and is very colorful, rustic, and has a beautiful mosque right on the land nearby. Burundi shouldn't be too hard. For Burundi, I'll pick the source of the Nile River. That's right. Burundi is the most likely source of the Blue Nile River, a debatable answer for the debatably world's longest river. Ethiopia has a source of the Blue Nile, but the White Nile source is debated and can be traced to multiple tributaries in Uganda and Rwanda, but it is highly likely to be from Burundi. Okay, fine. Since it's debated, the World Heritage Site could also be the Gishura Drum Sanctuary, a historical site with a drumming community. Actually, the Burundi drum itself is on UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage, something I only recently heard of from doing this research. It could actually make a good sequel video if any of you are interested. Let me know in the comments. We are keeping up with the Comoros yet again. I went with the Bajanani Mosque since it's by far the most famous landmark of the country. Its position on the coast is really nice, and it's what you'll see when you do a Google Images search of Comoros. There's hardly any pictures of Moroni without it. The best choice for Djibouti might be the People's Palace in Djibouti City, a cool complex full of Djibouti history and monuments, and is overall a symbol for freedom in Djibouti. Oh, but wait, it was built by China, of course. Let's hope this building isn't also completely bugged with recording devices. Ah well, in this case, I don't think it should disqualify the site or anything. I'm really bummed I couldn't find any footage of the inside. Do I have to make plans to visit Djibouti now? East Timor has a surprising amount of potential for World Heritage Sites. What if we went with the Santa Cruz Cemetery? The Santa Cruz Cemetery is an important commemoration site for the Timorese due to the massacre that happened there during the Indonesian occupation. The atrocities were caught on camera and aired to the world, bringing international attention to the Timorese struggle for independence. Wow, okay, that's a downer. It's a bit icky. What if we instead went with the Cristo Rey of Delhi? a statue of Jesus Christ that was gifted to the Timorese by Indonesia to celebrate them being a part of Indonesia and their Christian identity. Isn't that more fun?
It's even more powerful than before, because it's upbeat.
To figure out the best site for Equatorial Guinea, let's take a look at the Teddy Nguema Instagram page and see what the president posts about his country.
No control if the sky is pink and white, if the ground is black and yellow.
Dang, look at that. Hardest working man in Africa? True. Wait, he's actually delivering a speech? Wait, what? It is not decent to spend so much superfluous money when the Ghanaian people are suffering from many needs. What? No. How could you say that? I mean, look at this car, man. He's awesome. I decided to go with the St. James Cathedral, a large cathedral in the largest city, Bata. I wanted to make it somewhere on Rio Muni, and it is listed as a National Historic Site. Eswatini is that one African country that feels like it lives up to everyone's stereotypes of Africa. The good and the, bad. The good being nature and traditional African cultures, which is why my choice for Eswatini is the Swazi Cultural Village. I mean, come on, the name makes it too easy. It's a well-known cultural village right inside the popular Mantanga National Reserve with lots of wildlife and other landmarks. I mean, really, why haven't they listed this place yet? For Grenada, you can check out the Historical Coca-Cola Museum, Grenada Railway, the old post office. I spent 3 minutes on this site, which is way too long to realize this is for Grenada, Mississippi. Why is this the first search result? Alright, here's the right Grenada. There are some famous underwater sculptures here, but I'm not sure if they really connect to people from Grenada. While this might not be the likely choice, I got really invested in the Belmont Estate, a site for agricultural tourism. You can learn more about the country's famous spice production, as well as the history of slavery and native communities on the island through their production of spices. Guinea Bissau is home to the Bijagos Islands. This island chain off the coast of Guinea Bissau is home to multiple cultures across a diverse biosphere. The islands are home to the Bijagos people, a diverse group of people with their own language. There is a unique collection of wildlife, forests, and savannas, unique colonial architecture, and you're just going to the beaches, aren't you? If you saw my previous video on the Guyanas, you may be aware of what I picked for my choice. Except, the exact details of Mew's location aren't well known, so instead, I'm going with historic Georgetown. It's basically the same as Suriname's World Heritage Site, but I don't care. It's literally the prettiest city ever. You can keep your fancy Viennas and Pragues. All I want are some rustic wood buildings. Most of the Gulf states already have World Heritage Sites, and none of them are these big dumb skyscrapers. So let's continue that trend for Kuwait. Failaka Island. This small island has an important role in the history of Kuwait, having been settled since Sumer. It has a lot of what is considered for World Heritage Sites, has famous landscape, forts home to historical events, old neighborhood buildings from past centuries, and archaeological sites. Unfortunately, much was destroyed by the Gulf War. Uh-oh, looks like oil has been discovered off the coast. Guess this site won't be protected anytime soon. The history of Liberia really is fascinating, and since I'm an American, it's not controversial in any way. I'm going with Providence Island, the original site of the first 88 freed slaves to establish the country in 1820. It was also where people were taken from the region to be taken in the Atlantic slave trade, similar to Gorée Island in Senegal, another World Heritage Site. Actually, Providence Island has already been nominated by Liberia to become its first World Heritage Site. Let's hope it actually becomes one. Surprisingly, even Europe has countries without World Heritage Sites. Even more surprising, they were some of the hardest to choose World Heritage Sites for. Liechtenstein is very small and is mostly known for castles. Now, let me be real with you. I don't find castles that cool. Castles are pretty boring to me, even if I can appreciate how impressive or important they are. But that's most of my options, and I'd rather not pick a castle with the royal family living in it. So, Gutenberg Castle. It's an old castle with a lot of history, and it's perched on a hill. I mean, people who like castles will like this one. Check this out. This is the Kalhu Vakaru Miski, and it's famous for being a traveling mosque that can be taken apart and reconstructed, and it has been transported across the Maldives and now resides in Male. What a cool way to represent the country. Guess we can always preserve something if the worst ever comes for the islands. Monaco was the hardest country to choose a World Heritage Site for, cause, you know. But I went with Old Town Monaco, also known as The Rock. It's on the highest point of the country with a view of the city. This area has historical neighborhoods and famous palaces. There isn't too much historic in Monaco, but everything that is historic is right here. It was either this or the Casino de Monte Carlo, and I mean, it probably has more stories to tell than the entire rest of Monaco. Next up is Nauru, the country with apparently the most negative representation online. How to bankrupt a country. The country that ate itself. Oh, come on. Obese island? Visiting the fattest, most cigarette addicted, and least visited country. Huh? What did these people do to you guys? Okay, well, I like this country, and they deserve a World Heritage Site. The best choice is the Central Plateau. It's in the central part of the country on the highest elevation, and is home to multiple natural landmarks, strong cultural significance with local communities. It is home to where most of the phosphate mining was done that these creators just love talking about. The Caribbean is home to so many forts that it's really hard to tell what's different or significant about them. But in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Fort Charlotte allegedly had cannons facing inland to deal with specifically the native Garifuna people. St. Vincent has the highest percentage of native population of any Caribbean country, with the aforementioned Garifuna. So naturally, the heritage site should be about them. The National Trust Museum in the center of Kingstown is full of Garifuna heritage. Alright, sometimes it's hard to tell if the places I'm picking are the best choices for heritage sites, or if they might just be the best for tourism. Case in point, check out the Saliula lava fields on Savai'i Island. This beautiful site was formed when Mount Matavanu erupted in Gaga Imauga district. Okay, enough of that. This site is very pretty, especially with the popular site of the former LMS Samoan church. Dang, I need something else to say.
Tell me a joke about volcanoes. What did the volcano say when it stubbed its toe?
What?
Nothing, it just blew its top.
For São Tomé and Principe, I went with the São Grande Peak, Portuguese for Great Dog Peak, a massive volcanic plug in the center of São Tomé. The pinnacle is a symbol of the country, and I'm surprised such a tiny island can hold something so, well, grand. For Sierra Leone, I'm going with the famous cotton tree, the iconic symbol of Freetown. This 400-year-old tree is a lasting tribute to the history of the freed slaves that settled here, while also looking magnificent. That was until May of 2023, when a storm knocked over the iconic tree. A massive tragedy for the country, and more importantly, a bucket list item I'll never get to see. It could still be preserved for history, but it will never be the same. So instead, I'm choosing Tiwai Island in the southern part of the country. It's an inland island in the rainforest that is now a popular wildlife sanctuary. If Sierra Leone and Liberia weren't similar enough, it turns out this site has also been nominated to be a World Heritage Site. I found a 997-page nomination document that details about literally every aspect of this sanctuary. These two are moving up in the world. Let's give them another win, please. Is it any surprise Somalia doesn't have a World Heritage Site yet? I'm not sure how many more times I should tease Somalia in my videos. The best choice for a World Heritage Site in Somalia is Las Gil, one of the earliest and one of the most famous cave paintings in Africa and the world. It's right near Hargeisa, which means if you don't recognize Somaliland, this is for Somalia. Yet if you do recognize Somaliland, Somaliland also gets a heritage site. It's a win-win, right? South Sudan's elections just got delayed for another 2 years. Whoopee! If they don't have the resources to fund an election, then I guess they shouldn't have a World Heritage Site. Okay, fine, I actually like this country and want them to succeed under a person that doesn't wet themselves. This is the Boma National Park, a large protected ecosystem that apparently has debatably the world's largest migration over the Serengeti. That's something to write home about. Okay, this is 3 controversial countries in a row now. A likely choice for Taiwan is the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall, a popular monument dedicated to the former president of the Republic of China. Wait, turns out he killed a lot of people. Alright, let's go with the Longshan Temple in Taipei, one of the oldest and most famous Buddhist temples in the country. It is in quite the busy area and is representative of the Buddhist and Chinese folk history of the country. It has a statue of Guanyin, the Chinese goddess of mercy, and apparently, she did not give this place any mercy, as it was destroyed numerous times, once by the Americans even, naturally. Tonga is one of the most history-rich and influential countries in the South Pacific. It had a former empire that spanned multiple neighboring countries and territories. You can attribute a lot of Polynesian culture to Tonga. It's actually pretty exciting to finally talk about Oceania on my channel. The choice for World Heritage Site has to be something related to that former empire. The town of Mua is an excellent candidate, as it is the former capital of the Tuitonga Empire. Although it is smaller than it used to be, it is still home to historical ruins and burial tombs. It isn't too far away from the second best choice, the Ha'amanga Maui Trilathon. It's basically the Stonehenge of the Pacific. Man, I really like it when countries have most of their historic landmarks in one place. It really makes things a lot easier for me. That is the case with Queen's Park Savannah, a popular open green space with botanical gardens, palaces, a castle, and hosts Carnival. That was so easy. This video will be out in no time. Lastly, we have Tuvalu. The best choice is simply the Funafuti Atoll. Most of the nation's important historic sites are on the most populated island of 6,000 people. Museums, nature, and the remnants of World War II battles. And more importantly, we need to be protecting this atoll as it is drowning with rising sea levels, as is a lot of the Pacific Islands. I think the smallest country could really use some protection because we could one day lose all of it. And those are all the countries without a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I really love representing these lesser known countries as the white, ignorant American that I am. If any of these places intrigued you, I recommend you learn more about them as my explanations were very brief and not very detailed. And I want people to spend more time learning about places they don't often learn about. As I said before, if you have a better landmark to suggest for any of these countries, or if you think I should continue this series exploring intangible heritage sites or any of their other designated lists, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel and join the growing community Discord for more geography content.